Hey guys, AirborneErnesto here, and this is just a little quick thing I wanted to do. It's a game I've been playing since it was ever released on Steam. It's called Kenshi. Something I wanted to do a video on a long time ago, and I just never really got the chance to. But I think it's come along far enough now to where it'd be worthwhile to show you a little bit of it. First off, this game is supposed to be released in Q1 of 2017, which is where we're in now. Based on the recording date of this video. So we're just going to kind of hop into it. I just want to go over kind of about what it is. So really it's just a game where it's open sandboxy. You can start with one or a few different characters. And you kind of start with nothing depending on what you use as your starting area. And then you can essentially build cities or buy property inside cities and gain skill progression for each one of your characters, etc. So maybe you can run a shop, you can have laborers, etc. So I'm actually going to start a new game so you can kind of see what's going on. This is the one that's kind of the default, is the Wanderer. You start with a sword, not a lot of money. That's kind of how it was intended, as it says there. You can go through a different variety of a bunch of them. There are other factions in the game, so you might want to kind of take a look at some of these, because you're going to have some where a lot of people are out to get you. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with Wanderer just so you guys get a base idea of the game, and actually change all these different presets. They're just different, quantitative things here that you can change to change outcomes in the game. So building speed, etc. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once we get into the game, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and begin the game. I'll be honest with you, the artwork and the loading screens, it's always that picture. Perhaps they'll change it eventually. It's not a huge deal to me, though. They actually did just bring in this tutorial system here. That used to not be a thing. Another thing to keep in mind, this is alpha, even though they should be finishing the game up here soon, but it is a little bit of time to start the loading process. Even if you have a good graphics card, good computer, good equipment, I would still play on moderate settings. I actually have a 1070, and a lot of the times this game will crash, so I'm actually getting about 500 frames a second right now. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of these tutorials because I already know how to play. You have tons of custom capability options for your character, as you can see here. You can go through those if you wish. I actually believe that I saved a few. So Kenshi, that would be my main character guy that I usually choose. And a variety of stances. I'm just going to probably go with the normal stance. That's not weird. Something like that. They actually just brought race into the game, which is pretty cool. You get to go skeleton. They are nice. I don't believe they can bleed right there. They also do not get hungry, which is awesome. However, when they are attacked and damaged, this is a little annoying because it's expensive to repair them. You have the hive. Pretty much it's the same setup as a beehive, I guess you could say. They pretty much have a queen. You can actually read this on the side. They have some plus and minuses as well. For one, they don't labor, and they're kind of generally weak, and there also is no gender. So you can choose between a few different things here, and they have different stats based on which one you choose. Skeleton, you don't get to choose, as well as the gender. The Shek, they are pretty much the kind of hard-headed warriors. They really care about, honor fighting. You'll see in the game, if you choose human, they'll call you flat skin, and they aren't very nice to you. So you're going to start off with maybe some bad relations with them. Scorchlander, just a human race. It's really just the desert dwellers, so you can read into that as well. I like Greenlander. Go with Kenshi. Cool. And like I said, you can change all these options. It's just for the sake of the game. I'm not going to go through all of them. You get some basic race stats that you don't really gain anything or lose anything, so it's an easy place to start. And I always name them Kenshi, so cool. You can go through face, hair, etc. If you want to do that, take a look. The hair settings are a little jaggedy right now, but you can get what you need done with a little bit of patience. Alright, so I started off in a village already, and we're just going to load in. Like I said, it takes a little minute for all the textures to load. Alright, well, this is nice. Sometimes you spawn and you are like in a prisoner camp and you're just screwed right away. This is a good change of pace. So I believe we are right on the edge of what I think is the swamps. I might be mistaking that for something else. Nope, doesn't look like it. So this is the map. The swamps are in this direction, kind of where we're looking. Probably don't want to go there right away. There are a lot of monsters. As you go north, you're going to have the Holy Nation, empires, etc. Looks like we have another city not far from here, Admag. This is just a waypoint that we're at right now. So, just to go over some of the quick things here. You can choose what type of fighter they are, whether or not they're going to chase their opponents. You can even choose how fast they run. If they can walk. You get to choose all of that. It's pretty sweet. The things that you can do in this game are pretty limitless as far as character goes, which is kind of cool. We'll bring up inventory, basic inventory. It slots can get annoying sometimes. However, it makes sense because you can get backpacks and they kind of make it OP. So you can have 2 weapons. Honestly, I just use it to put bigger weapons in the inventory slot so I don't waste my normal inventory slot, and then I sell it. I usually use katanas anyway, so it doesn't bother me. First aid kits. If you happen to get hit out in the desert and no one's around to save you, you pretty much will just die because people have to have first aid kits around you to stop bleeding. If you don't stop the bleeding, you will die. And even if you do stop the bleeding, 9 times out of 10, if these are below 0, so these can actually be negative, you'll go into a recovery coma and you won't be able to play that character until they come out of the coma, which is pretty crazy. So there's things that can frustrate you on here. Like I said, you have the patience. It is Sandbox, so the people that are watching this or interested in this game are probably okay with that, because I definitely am. Stats. They're going to be basic things, so you can gain strength by fighting, for example, or carrying heavy equipment and then walking, so that builds strength, stuff like that. It tells you in the description what each one does. Toughness is pretty much, how many times can you get knocked out, or how much can you bleed. It's pretty much your resilience to pain, which is pretty critical towards the end as you start fighting people. You pretty much want to have them pass out before you do. Dexterity, pretty easy. Just faster, essentially. Perception is going to be a new skill that hasn't been out yet. And then you have different weapons, combat. Thievery is kind of cool. I haven't got into assassination yet. I still have to see if that works. But thievery and stealth is very useful. I usually have one guy in my group who is kind of the ninja status, and he'll walk into cities, steal a bunch of crap, go to another city and sell it. It's a good source of income. Athletics is just how fast you run. It's pretty easy. Then you have sciences. You'll need someone with a high science level for research, or you can just start someone researching. All of these will eventually level up, and they level up pretty quickly as well. Tech is just, there we go. You essentially make a research bench. If you've played RimWorld, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Go through, everything has tiers, and that's how you unlock stuff. So you can actually build an entire city 10 times bigger than this out in the desert if you wanted to, just by unlocking blueprints and building those systems and buildings. Crafting, same thing. You can have a station where you can do that. You can set up squads, so usually I have like a fighter squad, a labor squad, etc. Dialogue is just everything that's happened in the game, kind of like an MMO. So tons of stuff to do. You can make a big tank that just taunts people, so everybody goes after him, and then smaller guys like this guy can sit back with a katana and just obliterate them, so it's pretty cool. Building menu is off to the right here. You can start off by building a small shack. It's indicated by red on unlevel surfaces, blue if it's too close to a town, and then I believe green. Yep, green is where you can actually build. So there's actually a little wall here where you can't build close to a town because you might as well be part of that town. You'll see later when we go into cities that obviously they're much bigger than this, and there's going to be some abandoned cities that, or sorry, buildings that you can buy, and if you just want to build a place right there in town. So it looks like we're next to some Scourge people. So we're going to run inside here. I believe this is the bar. Alright, so in here you'll see NPCs will come and go throughout the desert here, and you can talk to them, maybe find some recruits, good stuff like that. It is worthwhile to do, as you will need people to assist you. It looks like this is a caravan of traders here. We'll talk to him. Alright, so he's actually a fence. So he will take stolen goods, which is very useful, especially if you were doing what I said earlier. Okay, so this guy wants to get hired, for example, and it looks like he has some pretty good equipment already. However, you start off with 1,000 cats. Don't ask me why they use that as a form of currency. It's a little weird. Back in the day, when this game first came out, pretty much all the towns were named like Cat Scratch, etc. To be honest, it was a little annoying. I'm all about that immersion, but none of that made sense to me. So it looks like there's some other people that you can get here as well. So, oh, also, yeah, this is a good point. You can actually have just bodyguards. You'll pay them daily. I wouldn't recommend that off the bat because you will go broke. It's best to hire people and then do that. So this one, for example, is a doctor. So she's going to have a high science skill. That's worthwhile in the beginning. However, she's worth 6,000, which we do not have. I'm not going to go into this building. It's pretty much just an armory, and a lot of the times when you walk in there without permission, some people don't like that, so we're not going to waste our time. Just to kind of show you the do's and don'ts. The first thing you're going to want to do once you get into the game, obviously one is secure some food items, which we actually might do now just so the guy doesn't get hungry. And then secondly on that list is obtain currency. So the best thing that you can do is, for example, these areas here of copper. You just stand out here, mine, come in, and sell it. So it's a little grindy, but it's worth it because you're essentially not getting the battles right away that you know you can't win. So we'll take some dried meat for now. And then I actually want to go and check out this city on the map. What's great about this game is you actually right click on a city and your dude will just take off running. F5 is quick save. Do it often. Otherwise, you might be over here looking at one character. Next thing you know, a whole swarm of bandits will attack your other guy, and he'll be dead before you know it. Pathfinding in this game is still a little weird for right-clicking on the map, but I don't see any reason why that won't be fixed sooner or later. So here's a good example. I already had some wild dog things coming after me. Very common. Luckily, we're not carrying a lot of equipment, so you know, we won't be dealing with too much here. So we just discovered an area. You might actually just go to that city instead, because this looks like it's going to start being a long walk. Here we go. The reason I'm doing this is to show you a city, as well as sometimes you have better placement on natural resources, like right outside the door, where you can mine and then head directly back inside and sell. So it's going to be imperative in the beginning that you do that. I'm not seeing anything here. I would probably go back to the waypoint. But you can see that there's pretty much the same setup. This is still a small city, mind you. However, still get pretty much the same buildings. You'll find a lot of bars. Here's an abandoned one. You can actually buy that and then repair it. There's a couple of them here. There's always going to be a lot of bars. Not much to do out in the desert. Here's an armorer, weaponsmith. So late game, this is going to be a good spot to be, right? So we're going to go ahead. Ooh, actually, look at that. There is a entire copper resource here. Has 0 workers on it. It is within the confines of the wall. So this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. Couldn't ask for much more at this point. So we're going to go ahead and start mining. You'll notice my character is not the best laborer, as he starts off at 1. But as you can see, it does not refresh while you're hovering, but if you go down, he's leveling up pretty quick, and all we're doing is mining. So before you know it, you'll have them up in the 30s. They'll be a lot better than they are now. And we are only a quarter of the way through the copper. So you can change those settings a little bit if you need to do that. Like I said, sometimes if you don't have the time to do that, it's worth it. You don't want to wait around all the time. But in the end game, it's nice when the time goes a little slower, because your skills will really be advanced, and it's kind of unrealistic how fast they can do stuff. So this is just the basics to the start of Kenshi. I'm actually, depending on the feedback I get from this, probably just going to start doing a series with this character. Let me know in the comments and the likes whether or not you want to see that, as there's not a whole lot of videos out there right now on the series for Kenshi. This is just kind of a introductory phase to it. So yeah, let me know. There'll be more to come. I'll try not to play without recording so that you can keep up with me. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful day.